We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph in Maseches Pesachim. This is Pesachim Daf 31a. The Gemara here is discussing a general machlokas between Abaye and Rava. When it comes to a Baal Chov, does the Baal Chov collect L'mafreya? That's Abaye's opinion. He collects retroactively. According to Rava, he collects Mikanu L'haba. So the Gemara explains there's no issue, there's no machlokas in a situation. Let's say the lova, let's say the borrower would go ahead and sell his property and there was a lien on that property. Certainly the malva is able to go collect that property from the buyers. Similarly, if the lova would be makdish his property, there's no argument. V'asi malva parik. The malva could come along and redeem that property from hektish. Rashi says, V'asi malva parik mina hektish b'davar mu'at. Person can spend a little bit of money, use a little bit of money to redeem from hektish. Why does he even need to use money? Yomru hektish yotze below pidyon. That way people won't say that hektish can be redeemed without redemption, without any money given. V'go v'chovo, and in that way he can collect his debt. There's no argument about that. It's not, as we learned in the Mishnah, Mosif o dinor, he can add a dinor o poda as hanechosim ha'elu, and he's able to redeem this property from hektish. So that's not a machlokas at all between Abaye and Rava. Even Rava, who says that you collect mikanhu la'aba, even Rava agrees that if the lova is the one that goes ahead and sells the property or makes the property hektish, the malva can still get that property as a collection of the debt. Ki pligi, what is the machlokas between Abaye and Rava? Dezavin malva v'kodesh malva. The machlokas is what if the malva, what if the lender decides to sell the property, or what if the lender decides to be makdish the property before the lova actually defaults on the debt? Abaye Amar l'mafreya hu gova. Abaye says that it's a retroactive collection. So kevan demata zimne v'lo pari. If the time comes and the lova does not pay off the debt, igloi milsa l'mafreya. It is revealed retroactively to make that all along the malva had this property and it was his. V'shapir akdish, v'shapir zavin. So it was rightful that he was makdish it. It was rightful that he sold it, and therefore the sale, the hektish, is going to go through. The Rava, but Rava says Mikana lahabahu gova. He only collects from that point in time and onward. Kevan deilo havele zuze have masalik lehu bezuze. Since if the lova had money, he could have paid off the debt with the money. He didn't have to give this property. Ishtakach dahashta kakani. He's only being kona the property now, and therefore, if the malva were to attempt to sell this property which he had a lien on, or to sell this, or to be makdish this property which he was going to collect with a lien, that would not be good. It's not his until he actually collects it, until the lova actually defaults. So the Gemara asks, Umi amar Rava hachi. Does Rava really say that the collection of the malva, when he collects this lien, it is mikanu lahaba? V'yomar Rami bar Chama, but didn't Rami bar Chama say, Ruvain shemochar sada l'Shimon b'achrayas? The case over here is, let's say Ruvain sells a field to Shimon and he takes achrayas, meaning Ruvain tells Shimon, look, if this property is taken away from you because I have some debt against me and there's some lien on this property that we're not aware of, or that we don't think is going to be collected, but eventually it does get taken away from you, Ruvain says to Shimon, I'll take achrayas, I'll pay you back for the property that you bought that got taken away. V'zakfan olav b'milva. But then, in addition to the achrayas that Ruvain takes, Shimon also takes an achrayas to Ruvain, because Shimon never actually pays for the property. He just makes it a loan. He says, whatever the property costs, whatever amount of money, I would like to pay you that as a loan. So you're going to basically, Ruvain effectively lends him the money, so to speak, or you could say finances the sale, and Shimon therefore now owes the money for the property. So what happened in this case is, Shimon took property from Ruvain. Shimon now owes the money to Ruvain for that property. That's like a loan. But Ruvain owes the money for the property in case the property gets taken away. In other words, if you have a scenario where someone comes along and says, Ruvain, you owe me money, and Ruvain doesn't have any money, and then they end up taking this property as a collection, Ruvain has achrayas to pay Shimon in that regard. And the case continues as follows: Umeis Ruvain, then Ruvain dies. V'yasa Baal Chov de Ruvain v'tarif le'mi Shimon, and that's exactly what happens. A Baal Chov, a creditor of Ruvain, comes along and says, "I'm supposed to collect from Ruvain. He's dead. He doesn't have any money for me. I'm collecting the property from you." V'yasa Shimon ufaise bezuze, and Shimon says, instead of giving you the property, I'm going to give you money. So Shimon ends up paying off the creditor. Now Shimon wants to go back to Ruvain's, to the orphans, to those who inherited Ruvain's estate, and he wants to say, look, you owe me this money because you took achrayas on the sale, so therefore I paid off the creditor for you, and you took achrayas, you need to pay me back. So dinahu da'asu b'nei Ruvain va'amri le'la Shimon. So Rami bar Chama says the halacha is that the children of Ruvain can say to Shimon, Anon metaltali shavak avun gabach, Our father, he left metaltlin by you. And the halacha is, when it comes to metaltlin, they're not. When it comes to metaltlin of orphans, so they are not. They're not mishtabi to the balchov. In other words, the children can say, look, we inherited from our father metaltlin, and the halacha is a balchov can't collect from yisomim metaltlin. You can't collect anything from us. We know that our father promised to take achrayas, but we have nothing to give you. We don't owe you anything for paying off the creditor because all we have is metaltlin. So that's what Rami Bar Chama said. V'yamar Rava, and Rava said on that, Ipikeach Shimon, if Shimon was wise, Magbi Luhu Ara, what he would do is, he would pay them what he owes them with land. In other words, remember, Shimon owes them money because he took out a loan from the father in order to buy the property. He effectively, the father who sold the land to Shimon, Reuven, who sold the land to Shimon, financed the sale. So Shimon owed money. So if Shimon was smart, he'll pay the orphans and say, look, I know I owe you money for the property. I'm not going to pay you in money. I'm going to pay you in land. Then, v'hadar gabi laminayu. Now that he pays them in land, now that they have land, the halacha then is he can collect what they owe him, because the halacha is you can collect from Yisomim if they have land. How do you know that? The Omer of Nachman, because Rav Nachman said, Yisomim shagavu karka b'chova saviyam. If orphans collect land due to the debt that's owed to their father, balchov chozer v'gova samehen, then the balchov is able to collect from them. So Rava was saying, if this guy is smart, that's exactly what he'll do. He owes money to the orphans for the property, so now he'll pay them with land, and now suddenly remember the orphans owe him because he paid off the creditor of the orphans. So the orphans have now taken land as a debt of their father, and now they're going to have to pay back this guy who they have achrayas to because now they have land. So anyways, that's what Rava said. So now the Gemara wants to use Rava's statement to try to say it's a contradiction to Rava's idea that mikanu lahaba. So the Gemara says, Iamrid bishlama lemafreya hugova. Now if you say that in general a creditor collects retroactively, so then this all makes a lot of sense. It makes sense that Shimon is able to give them land, and then he could collect. Why? Because the land that they're collecting now, it's as if they collected it all along. It's as if it was collected while the father was alive, and therefore the father again took achrayas, and it's as if he had this land all along, and now the father took achrayas. So now Shimon has a lien on this property that the father had collected all along. But if the Yisoma are only collecting from now onward, it's not retroactive, why is he allowed to now collect the debt that they owe him from them? This should be no different than if the orphans were to buy property on the market right now. Let's say the orphans would decide we're going to buy some property. We've inherited a nice amount of money from our father. We want to buy some property. He can't come along and collect that property. That's new property. V'ilu kani yasmi nichse. If the Yisam would acquire property, mika mishtabdi lebalchov. You think a balchov can collect from orphans? It's not true. He can't collect. So over here, what's going on? This guy Shimon is now giving the orphans property that was owed to the father. This was owed in a loan, and now we're saying that this same balchov can now collect the property back for what's owed to him. Why is he allowed to do that? If it's mikanav l'haba, it's no different than the Yisam just buying a property randomly with their money. A balchov can't come and collect that kind of property from orphans, so it must be it's retroactive. So the Gemara says it seems like a contradiction in Rava. Gemara says no, it's not a contradiction. Shani Hasam, it's actually different over there. Diamar lahu, because Shimon can say to the Yisomim, he can say to the orphans, Ki heichi de mishtabno le la'avuchon, mishtabno nami lebalchov da'avuchon. Just like there's a shibud to your father, there's also a shibud of the balchov of your father. In other words, just like I was mishubed to your father, I have to pay him the loan that I owe him. But remember, if your father owes someone else, there's also a shibud to that someone else. Now it happens to be that someone else is Shimon. It's the same person. But what Shimon is saying is, Shimon tells the Yisomim, I owed your father money. Your father owed someone else money. So I really owe that someone else. Now who's that someone else? That's me. So it circles right back to me. That's why I actually have a lien on this property. Midir Rabbi Nosson, this follows Rabbi Nosson's idea. The Tanya we learned in a Brisa. Rabbi Nosson says, Minayin linosha b'chaveiro mana. Let's say you have a situation where somebody owes another person a mana, v'chaveiro b'chaveiro, and then that person owes another person a mana. Shemotzi So the initial creditor can skip over the middle guy and collect from the guy. The initial creditor can say, look, you owe me money and he owes you money, so I'll collect from him. Levi owes Shimon, Shimon owes Reuven. Reuven can now say, I'll collect from Levi, because I know that Shimon, you owe me, and I know that Levi owes you, so I can skip right over. How do you know that's true? Talmud Lomar, v'nosan la'asher asham lo. It says you have to give it to the person who's guilty, who ultimately owes the money, so that's why in this case as well, Shimon can say, really, I'm able to collect because I'm a creditor of your father, so I have the same lien that he has. Rashi over here explains, Shani hasam damar lahu ki hechi de mishtabne lavuchon, mishtabne nami lebal chov davuchon midrab nasan. Just like I have a shibud, just like I owe your father, I also owe the person who your father owes. Meaning, liola mikanu lahabahu gova. Really, the collection is only from now and onward. Umay damer of Nachman bialma balchov choser v'gova samehen. But that which Rav Nachman said in general, a balchov can collect from them. Mishum da'amer lahen balchov liyasom, because a balchov says to the orphans, mikoach mi basem. Whose strength are you coming from? Ugavisam karkazu. How did you collect this land in the first place? Let's say the orphans owe a certain person, and the orphans also collected land for a debt that was owed to them. How'd you get this debt? How'd you get this land? Mikoach shibud shel avichan. It's because your father had a lien on this property. V'chiechi de mishtabda lavuchan karkazu. Just like your father had a lien on this property, and that's why you're collecting it. Shalove me'avichem. This borrower that borrowed from your father. Mishtabda nami lididi. I have the exact same lien on the property because your father owes me money. Shayisi malva shel avichan, because I'm the lender to your father. Anyone who owes your father owes me. Mida Rabbi Nosson, that's Rabbi Nosson's rule. Hilkach kadam shibudi oleh, therefore my shibud precedes yours. Afilu eitza lo v'shayisa bereshusho, even by this borrower who owed the father money. And that's exactly what's happening over here. V'shimonami amar lulav nei Ruvain. Shimon can say to the children of Ruvain, ki heichi tehavin chasai mishubadin la'avichem b'shvil chovo. Just like I owed my property, there was a lien on my property to your father because I owed him money. Hayu mishubadim gam le'atzmi. But I also had a lien on that property because I had a lien on your father's property. Mikoach avichem sheyalav etzli, because your father was a borrower to me. Machmas achrayas hamachir, because he took responsibility on the sale. He said he would pay me back if anything happened to the property, if any creditors came. Mida Rabbi Nosson, de mali oni mali acher. Why am I any worse than any other creditor who gets to collect from those who owe to your father? Even though it wasn't acquired by your father while he was alive, my lien is chal on it, me to myself, and therefore using Rabbi Nosson, even if you say the orphans only collect mikanu haba, but if they're collecting property that there was a lien on, then the ultimate creditor can claim the same lien, and that's exactly what Shimon is doing in this case. La'asher asham lo, as the pasuk says, the one who's guilty. La'asher helveyu lo lo nemar. It doesn't say you pay back the one who lent. El la'asher asham lo, you pay back the guy who ultimately is owed the money, who ultimately you're guilty to. La'asher hakeren shelo, who owns the principal. So in any case, the Gemara says this is not a contradiction at all within Rava. Rava can easily hold mikanu la'abahu gova, and he could still give this advice to Shimon in order to allow Shimon to collect from these Yisomim, from these Yisomim who inherited Ruvain. Gemara now continues to take our Mishnah and put it in the context of this machlokas Abaye and Rava. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Nochri shehilves Yisrael al chem. So it says if a Nochri lent money to the Yisrael and the chametz was taken, there was a lien on the chametz. So achara Pesach muter bahana. The halacha is that after Pesach, this chametz is muter bahana because it's considered as if it belonged to the non-Jew throughout Pesach. So the Gemara says, Iyamri b'shlama lemafreyahu gova. Now, if you say that ultimately the non-Jew is collecting, or any balchov really is collecting the loan retroactively, meaning if the loan isn't paid off, whatever the lien is on, it's as if he owned it all along. So amtu lahachi muter bahana. Makes perfect sense, the Mishnah, why it's now muter bahana the chametz, because it's as if the non-Jew owned the chametz the entire time. Meaning the Mishnah works very well according to Abaye. It seems to indicate lemafreya. Eliyamer mikanu lahabahu gova. But if you say that the non-Jew only collects the chametz and only becomes the owner of the chametz when the Jew defaults on the loan, amay muter bahana. Why is it muter bahana? Bershusa di Yisrael havakoi. Throughout Pesach, it was in the rishus of the Yisrael, so it should be usher. It should be considered chametz that was owned by a Jew throughout Pesach. So the Gemara answers, hacha b'may askin, and here what is the case? Kishihirinu etzlo. The chametz, there's not only was a lien on the chametz, but the chametz was actually in the property. It was in the rishus of the non-Jew, and Rashi over here explains, Kishirinu etzlo beveso shel nachri nasno. It was placed in the house of the non-Jew. Kasal gadai tachashta the time mishum dehavali toras mashkon. Right now, we assume that the pshat is because this chametz is considered a mashkon. It's considered a collateral for the loan. Ubal chov kona mashkon. Right now, we think the pshat in the Mishnah is that a bal chov acquires a mashkon, and therefore, the nachri really is the owner of this chametz throughout Pesach. So the Gemara says, Leime ketanoi. Let us say this is actually a machlokas tanoim. We have a brisa as follows: Yisrael shehilva lenachri al chemtzo. It says that if a Yisrael lends a nachri and it's on the nachri's chametz, the nachri's chametz is like a collateral. La'achar Pesach eino over. After Pesach, there's no problem. In this case, it's considered like it belonged to the non-Jew. Mishum Rabbi Meir Amar, but they said in the name of Rabbi Meir over that in fact, no, it's considered it belonged to the Jew, the person who's the lender, and there is a problem with this chametz after Pesach. So the Gemara says, "My lav is it not? This is exactly the machlokas. Demar savar lemafreya hu gova." One says this is just a typical case. Right now, the Gemara assumes this is a typical case of a bal chov. So one opinion says he collects retroactively. Umar savar mikanu labo gova. The other one says he doesn't collect retroactively. He just collects from now. So in this case, that's exactly the situation. The Yisrael is the lender. If you say that the Yisrael collects retroactively, that's going to be Rabbi Meir's opinion. There's going to be a problem because it was owned by the Yisrael throughout Pesach. But if you say the Yisrael only collects when the Nachri defaults, so then it was owned by the non-Jew throughout Pesach, and it's not a problem. So the Gemara says that doesn't make sense. V'tizber, is that really a logical explanation of this brisa? Amos Seifa, let's look at the end of this brisa. Avol Nachri Shehilva, the Yisrael, has the reverse case. If a non-Jew is the lender, he lends the Yisrael, al chemtzo, and it's on the chametz, la'achar Pesach, divrei hakol over. Everybody agrees after Pesach, it's a problem, meaning it's considered like it belonged to the Jew throughout Pesach. So what are you talking about? Why is that everyone agrees? That should be, the Gemara says, the exact opposite. It should just be the reverse, because you've reversed the case. Laman damar hasam eino over, hacha over. If you say over there was no transgression, here there is a transgression. Laman damar hasam over, hacha eino over. For the one who said that there again that there is a transgression over there, here there should be no transgression. Why would it suddenly be divrei hakol? Rashi over here says amos seifa divrei hakol over. Vi time mishum lahabo lemafreyahu. If the whole issue is when does a bal chov collect, ipcha havalon lafuchi pluk sayuba. It should just be the reverse over here. V'lo lashvuye datayo. They shouldn't all agree. The laman da amar le'el bereisha over. The one who says there is a transgression in the reisha, alma lemafreyahu gove. So you see that in that case where it was a Jew who's the lender, it's retroactively. So the Jew's the owner the whole time. Hacha havalei lemeimar eino over here. There should be no transgression. Mishum devashas halva kamle b'rishos nachri. Because here where the nachri is the lender, he's the one that has the rishos. Ulaman damar hasam v'chulu. And the other way it should be also the other way, etc. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Beis.